Alright, today's video is a sponsored video by Simple Mobile, so let me tell you a little bit about them. Simple Mobile believes that the cell phone is a personal extension of your own freedom, and it's really easy to sign up. All you have to do is purchase one of their SIM cards and use your GSM phone, and then just activate one of their unlimited plans. Note to self, this angle is amazing. Now, once that process is done, which by the way, as the name implies, is a simple one to do, you'll be on your way to saving money on your monthly cell phone bill, and let's be honest, who doesn't want to save money? So go ahead and click on the annotation on the screen right here, or if you're interested, there's one in the description box below. Either way, it's time to get simple. Now let's get to the video. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Brendan again. I messed up, and I'm actually filming this after the gym, so my work is already done. And maybe I should start doing this more often. That way I can underestimate what I'm going to do before going to the gym, but just not tell you that. Meaning I can say, you know what, I'm really hoping to pull X amount and really undershoot my number, already knowing what I got for the day, and then I will blow your minds. But that would be a pretty big bitch move, so maybe I should do that because that would be right up my alley. But anyways, just got done with a very volume-filled day of benching and upper body work, mostly just bench, shoulders, and triceps. I think we did almost 200 actual reps of bench in one form or another, whether it be dumbbells or barbells or whatever. A lot of fucking volume, which is probably why I'm still out of breath right now, not to mention it's hot as balls out. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut to the clip so I can cut this camera and blast my AC and you guys don't have to hear it. We'll see you inside. Back in the gym with Chump Change Campbell. That's right, motherfuckers. Anyways, as I mentioned, lots of volume today. Actually didn't even film the first exercise, which was 4 sets of 20 on incline dumbbell bench press. So starting off the day with 80 reps on incline dumbbell bench press. Nothing overly heavy, just used 50s to get the blood flowing and the bro going. And it was on. From there, we did 8 sets of 8 of Spoto press, which you're seeing right here. And again, Spoto press is you pause an inch or so above your chest, then press. I've really liked these exercises so far. It really makes me tuck my elbows a little bit more than I would normally. Now, only showing you the first set here, only because I don't want to show you 64 total reps here, but we're definitely getting that volume up. From there, we actually moved on to close grip bench press. And for this, several sets were done. However, only showing you the first one. If you guys want to see more in-depth information for any of these workouts, you can follow me in Fitocracy. I link it in every description box. But for these two, really trying to get narrow and also really trying to keep my elbows towards my sides. Really felt this in my triceps, but again, tons of volume on this particular day. Also decided to keep the cap off for all you ladies out there who like premature balding men, because you know I'm all about that prematureness in my life. From there, we moved on to a superset. So yes, if a bro wasn't good enough for you already, supersets on the day. Did seated dumbbell bench press. I think these were 50s. We did 4 sets total of these supersets. These called for anywhere, I think, from I want to say 8 to 12 reps. I tried to get 12 on all of them, which I did. We then moved directly on to face pulls. Now, because of the cable system here at my gym, or should I say lack thereof, I have to use these bands, but I really like them. I make do with what I got, and it's still a doable exercise. However, you got to make do with what you got. So this was my MacGyver or MacGruber example. Now from there, we moved on to another superset, 4 sets again. This time we're doing incline dumbbell tricep extensions. I love this exercise. If you haven't tried it before, definitely give it a go. I'm sitting on my foot only to give myself a little bit better extension so I don't hit the dumbbell on the bench, although I still managed to knock it around a few times here. So 4 sets here of 10 sets each. We used 80s only because of the volume at this point, but this exercise, it really allows you to overload and get a good stretch, at least in my opinion, in your triceps. So again, if you haven't tried this, definitely give her a go. Now from here again, because this is a superset, we moved immediately on to close grip push-ups or close stance push-ups, whatever you want to say. My actual hand position isn't too narrow, only because doing so really puts a lot of stress on my wrists and elbows, and by this point in the volume, like I said already, I was pretty fried and just felt really good. So I did sets of 15 here, and that worked out the day for me. So been a little bit busy and didn't get a chance to film a lot of stuff in between this workout and the next one. So that upper body workout was done on a Wednesday. Took Thursday off, then Friday I got in the gym for my normal squat session. And the day called for 8 sets of 2 for speed reps. So I figured I'd drop it to 315 because last week we did 405 and I said I should have dropped it a little bit more. So the first set goes all right. And in fact, several of these sets go all right. I ended up doing 5 sets of 2 at 315. I'm just going to show you a compilation of all the other sets done for speed here. And although they felt all right and the weight was moving okay, I kind of had it back in my head that I wasn't happy with my squat form. Now, one of the things that I do that maybe I should or shouldn't be doing is I take a look at all the sets I record after I do them in the gym, and sometimes I perseverate on some of these things and it really works up in my mind and becomes a negative. So much so, in fact, today that by the time I got to my my 6th set, I decided to drop to 225 and just really start playing around with some of the way that I squat. So you can go ahead and take a look here at some of the things I'm doing, but for these I'm trying to keep a little bit wider on these sets, so I'm playing with my stance. I'm also going to be playing a little bit with my grip width, but one of the things that I found is going really wide for me in either of the two, being stance or grip width, it really starts to mess with me a little bit, and I don't feel comfortable in these positions just yet. I think the problem with my stance is the fact that my hips are really tight. You know, I sit all the time at an office, at a desk, in the car driving to work, that I get really tight hips. So there's something I need to do about that, whether it be mobility work, whether it be looking into getting somewhat of a stand-up desk, something. But I'm really getting crippled when it comes to my hips, and I think it's really holding me back. Then as far as my actual grip width, what happens is when I go really wide, although it feels a little bit better on my wrists and maybe my elbows, I don't feel like I can really create a tight upper body, which I think working with heavier weights is really going to be a negative for me. So in this case, working with 225, it's hard to tell how much of a hindrance some of these things will be, but I'm trying to correct them at this point of the game and really play around with different things, just because I don't want to risk going too heavy and snapping my shit up, which is always a real case scenario for me. So by this point in the game, I was noticing I was kind of tilting forward a little bit more than I should. So you can see on this squat, I really try to pause and hold it to see where I am. I feel like I'm going too forward, so I really kind of shift the weight back onto my heels to see how that feels, and I really try to emulate that on my next set. And what I figured I'd do by this point is just get one more view to see how things go. And I really don't like this angle whatsoever, and that's what's interesting about filming from different angles, and that's why oftentimes in powerlifting meets you'll have 3 judges for the squat, because depending on how you look at it, it might not look like it's competition depth, in which case none of mine actually ever look like that. Or so you guys tell me. So by this point, because I was leaning forward a little bit and I was playing around with going wider, I figured I might as well go ahead and put back on those Reebok CrossFit Light Low TRs, which are extremely flat. And I wanted to play around to see how this feels, and it actually felt pretty good by this point. Now I think I'm probably about 15 sets or so deep. I ended up doing 20 sets overall with squats, but using these flat shoes actually felt pretty good. And one of the things I'm really focusing on here is keeping my feet wide, kind of trying to screw my feet into the ground, getting my glutes involved some because I feel like I don't do a good job activating them. I'm also making sure that my heels are somewhat planted, because in the past I had issues with bad ankle mobility. So what would happen in flat shoes is my heels would kind of cave in, my rear foot would kind of lift up off the ground, and I'm happy to see that that's not really happening too much here. Now there is some movement, but not as much as has been in the past. So after I got pretty comfortable using these flat shoes with a couple sets of 225, I decided to throw some more weight on just to see where my form is going to break down some. So here's 315. One of the things I notice here is I need to do a better job of keeping my elbows under, as they're flaring out pretty bad, but it still felt pretty good. So I jumped up to 365, again just seeing where I have form breakdowns, and also try to concentrate on me and not the bro in the back curling, although I have been guilty of doing that as well too, so I cannot talk shit. And that felt smooth, so it was good. And this is the heaviest I've probably worked up to in flat shoes in at least a good year. And this is my last set for the day, 405, again just to see how it feels, just the tip, give it some play, you know what I'm saying. And this one went well as well. It's a lot of wells. So this felt pretty good. So this was, I guess, technically a PR for me in a while, just because I haven't used flat shoes. I then moved on to front squats. I did 3 sets of 5, I believe, on these. But one of the things I wanted to update you on, this was filmed on Friday, and then today, Monday, I had a deadlift day. So I worked up to 495 for 5 sets of 3 at the commercial gym, which was amazing considering I didn't get yelled at. But then I moved on to pause squats, and I used the flat shoes again, and I ended up working up to a heavy set of 3 paused at 445 in flat shoes, and I felt like my depth was pretty good. So pretty happy. Probably going to play around with flat shoes a little bit more, but that's the workout. Again, follow me in Fitocracy if you're interested. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.